Good morning and welcome to Theodore Parker Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Robin Colgrove. My family and I have been coming to Theodore Parker since the last millennium. My claim to fame is that I was the architect of the first Theodore Parker website back when it ran on a server in my lab. Closer. My fun fact is that I was the architect of the first Theodore Parker website back in the 1990s, running on a server on my lab when my technical assistance was coming from Tim Berners-Lee, inventor of the World Wide Web, who is a member of the Lexington Church. We've come a long way since then. As we enter into worship, we bring with us all of the sorrows and joys of our week, and we know that we are held in loving community. We are reminded that we are part of something larger than ourselves. Here we seek to counter oppression, to work for healing and justice in a bruised and broken world. Here we invite all of you to bring your perspectives, your beliefs and doubts, and all that is unique and wondrous about you to our service. In the spirit of love, all are welcome here. For those joining us in person, a few things you may want to know. You can use the QR codes at either entrance or in the pews to pull up the order of service on your phone, or take one of the large print copies available at either entrance. Our service is being recorded today and will be available on YouTube later. If you'd like to have a joy or a concern shared with the congregation today during our meditation and prayer, we invite you to fill out a card anytime before our meditation on the hymn table to your right, my left. You may also light a silent candle of joy or concern anytime during our worship service, or use the space in the far back corner for private reflection during the service. People of all ages are welcome to move about in the sanctuary as they need to, or to make themselves comfortable in the cozy zone in front of the first pew. Children's programming for elementary school age kids is happening today. We also have childcare available for children under 4 in the nursery located in the parish hall. Many thanks to Mary Beth Noonan, who is our camera point person, and to Jake Bittner, who is our Zoom usher. If you're new to Theodore Parker Church or visiting today, we'd love to stay in touch. You're invited to fill out a connection card, which will give you an opportunity to sign up for our weekly updates and help us welcome you. A link to the connection card will be in the chat, as well as our contact information. Those joining us here in the sanctuary are encouraged to fill in the contact card you'll find in your pews within the welcome brochure. We'd like to take a moment to greet one another. For those of you on Zoom, putting your video on for this time helps us connect. Mary Beth, could you please put our sanctuary screen in gallery view so we can see our offsite congregation? They will be in the back where the camera is by the clock. Let's give each other a big wave. Sanctuary folks, cameras under the clock. As we continue to greet each other, if online, you may post a hello in the chat. If you're here physically here in the sanctuary, we invite you to greet one another at this time. I invite us now to be seated as Yukiko shares our prelude, Resolution, by Howard Skempton.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Heather Concannon. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the minister of this congregation. And it is my pleasure to introduce Reverend D.L. Helfer, who will be co-leading worship with me this morning, who many of you know because they covered my parental leave. And we will also be commissioning them as our affiliated community minister later in the service. Reverend DL and I realized that this is the first time we've led worship together, so we're so excited. We open with these opening words from Reverend Jamie Yandel. As we enter into worship, we reflect on the flame of our chalice, and in the flames, the memory of our trans and non-binary ancestors do a dance of freedom and liberation, reminding us that we are whole and holy. We are loved beyond all measure, and in our refusal to accept anything less, may we know we are rooted in the infinite divinity, not relegated to the outskirts of the web of all existence, but enshrined at its core, and fleshed with stardust and fairy dust, an intentional creation of space where our many gods live. We are going to rise in body and spirit in a moment and sing our opening hymn, which is How Could Anyone? But I want to tell you a little story about this hymn first, which is that Libby Roderick wrote this hymn in 1988, and the story that I have always heard, which I learned recently may be an apocryphal story, but it may also be true, is that she wrote it for her sister who had come out as a lesbian and their parents rejected her. And I hear this hymn as a powerful affirmation that we are all whole and holy and beloved. And in this moment when anti-trans rhetoric and policies are becoming more and more scary, let us sing this song as an affirmation that all of us, all of our sexual orientations and gender identities are beautiful and whole. I invite us to rise. I'd like to invite up Daphne, who would like everybody to know that she's 4 now, and her mom to light our chalice. And as they light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, please join in saying our shared covenant, once in English and once in Spanish, in honor of our sibling community in Plazuelas, El Salvador. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. I would like to invite Reverend D.L. forward and also Meredith St. John, our board chair, forward. So friends, this morning I'm so excited to introduce Reverend D.L. Helfer to you officially now as our new affiliated community minister. As many of you remembered, Reverend D.L. covered my parental leave last spring, and our congregation formed a special bond with Reverend D.L., and their preaching and presence is remembered with gratitude and warmth by so many. And many of our congregation have enjoyed having them back as a guest preacher this year. And in our Unitarian Universalist faith, community ministers like Reverend D.L., who work in the community rather than serving a congregation, are encouraged to formally affiliate with a Unitarian Universalist congregation as a way to stay connected to our larger faith community and as a way for the congregation to also support their ministry in the wider world. It's a way that our values, our Unitarian Universalist values and ministry are lived outside of the walls of our congregations. So the role of affiliated community minister, though not a paid staff position, is a formal and ongoing and mutually beneficial relationship. As our affiliated community minister, Reverend D.L. will continue to stay connected to TPC through regular guest preaching and occasionally for emergency pastoral care availability if I'm on vacation or unavailable. And in many congregations, having an affiliated community minister is a very mutually supportive and wonderful arrangement. And we're so excited that our board has voted to invite Reverend D.L. to be our affiliated minister and for us to be covenanting with them today. So before we begin our ceremony, I'd like to invite Reverend D.L. to say a little bit about the kind of community ministry that you do and introduce yourself to the congregation, as I know there are many people who are new since I was on leave and may not have gotten a chance to say hello.
Good morning. I was just commenting how many more of you there are than last time I was here. It's a beautiful thing. I am a part-time ministry, part-time social worker. Social work has been more with gender diverse youth, although lately I've been working with folks that are addressing substance abuse and major mental health challenges. I think a lot of the people here know that I've been very involved in UU justice in the Middle East, a lot of the work around Palestine. And I keep my hand in LGBTQ issues. And I want to support anything that's appropriate here to do, and I really, it's very meaningful to be here with you.
The Board of Trustees of this congregation has voted to enter into a covenant of affiliation with the Reverend D.L. Helfer to recognize and affirm their role as a Unitarian Universalist community minister, serving the larger community beyond our church. Reverend D.L., we are glad that you have chosen our congregation as your church home. And today we want to affirm you as our affiliated community minister. In our covenant with you, we will respect your ministry in the community as another expression of our Unitarian Universalist faith. We will understand that you are not our settled minister, but rather one whose professional ministry takes place largely separate from our church. We will work with you and show our support and appreciation of your ministry in the community and your service of our shared ideals of love and justice in our world.
I am grateful to be formally affiliated as a community minister with this congregation, and this is my covenant with you. I will respect and celebrate Theodore Parker Church as a vibrant expression of Unitarian Universalism in Southwest Boston. I will honor Rev. Heather's call as settled minister of TPC and seek to work with her in a spirit of mutual cooperation and collaboration. And I will work to create a ministry rooted in our shared values of love and justice, and I welcome your support and participation.
And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to partner with Reverend DL as our affiliated community minister. And in my covenant with them, I will honor Reverend DL's ministry as independent but interdependent, as an interdependent but independent ministry from my own, and seek to work with them in mutual cooperation and collaboration.
You have heard the pledges made by Reverend D.L. Helfer and us on behalf of our Board of Trustees and our covenant of affiliation. I ask you now to join me in affirming the new relationship with our affiliated community minister. Please repeat after me, just one sentence. We joyfully affirm this covenant and welcome you as our community minister. We joyfully affirm and welcome you as our community minister.
So Reverend DL, in a moment I'm going to invite the congregation to come forward and bless you. But before we do, would you hold this? I have a very, very, very small token for you, which is an official TPC name tag. So friends, I'd like to invite us forward to get connected to Reverend DL. We're going to do a laying on of hands, which is a way that we can connect our blessings through our bodies and connect ourselves to Reverend DL. So I'm going to invite people forward, and we're just going to place a hand on Reverend DL's shoulders or the shoulders of somebody connected to them, and we're going to say a short blessing over the relationship. So I invite us to come forward. Spirit of life, guide us on this journey we take together as we, the people of Theodore Parker Church, join together to welcome Reverend DL. May the connections of our hands and the web we've created show Reverend DL that we support them in their ministry. May their ministry in the world be justice-seeking, life-giving, and may it bring love beyond our walls. And in turn, may it remind us of the vast and beautiful ways that we can express our Unitarian Universalist faith and values in our wider community and world. And let us all say amen. Amen. I invite you to return to your seats as we officially welcome Reverend DL. And as we transition, we are going to sing our children to Children's Chapel. I invite us to Rose is off today, and Pat and Susan will be leading Children's Chapel for us. So let us sing our children out. So, friends, as we enter into our time of meditation and prayer, we have a time to offer what joys or sorrows are on our hearts. And if you're here with in the sanctuary with us, I invite you to fill out a prayer card during our centering hymn if you would like to have a prayer shared. And if you're joining us on Zoom today, I invite you to type your joy or your sorrow into our chat box now. And as we deepen into this space, I invite you to enter into this moment here and now. Feel the earth beneath you. Take a few nurturing breaths. I invite us to remain seated as we sing our centering hymn number 1002, Comfort Me. This morning, our sorrows include a sorrow for Meredith, in solidarity with people of Hungary who are now living under new repressive anti-gay legislation. From Ruth Kahn, for the passing of Woody Glenn, a pioneer in the Bi community. From the Bittners, for Jake's aunt who is still in the ICU, and Katie's grandma who is ill and 93. From Cecile Briggs, my Grampy is in hospice. He is the best Grampy. An anonymous sorrow for the loss of my childhood dog, Buddy. From Eileen Montour, A prayer for peace and justice for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. From Larry, missing a dear friend, Kim Stevens, who passed unexpectedly this week. Remind those you love how much they mean to you. And from Stanzi, concern for Rumeja Ozturk, the tough student detained by ICE, and for all those in similar circumstances. And from Allison Bear, a joy. For my friend Jane of 45 years, who has MS and was hospitalized but coming home tomorrow. For all of these joys and all of these sorrows that we've shared today, and for all that we hold in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, we light one final candle. And let us join in a space of prayer and meditation with these words from Reverend M. Jade Kaiser. Praise be to the Creator of queer and trans wonders, of bodies made perfect through self-love, of love that is expansive, of holiness that is strange, of lines blurred and certainly troubled, of the particular beauty birthed from the determination to be, of becoming, of multifaceted, of community in knowing the joy and the struggles, of generations of proudly weird, of solidarity, of tenderness, of together, of ever unfolding ways of being, of families made in endless variations, of will not hide, of surviving in forced hiddenness, of unafraid, of trembling and persisting, of sacred connection in flesh, in heart, in sharing resources, in being with and for one another. Together, let us rest into several moments of shared silence, followed by our musical meditation. This week is the fourth and final week of our stewardship campaign, and as such, we have our final stewardship testimonial, which will be offered by Jess Loftus, and this morning she is joining us on Zoom.
Good morning, everyone. Is the audio okay? No, there's an echo. Good morning. My name is Jessica Loftus. I often go by Jess, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a resident of Rosendale, where I live with my husband, Greg, and my children, Grayson, who is 12, and Sailor, who is 9. I apologize for my voice. I have a bad seasonal cold, and also for being remote. I would love to be there in person, but we were trying to squeeze in one last ski weekend with some dear friends, one of whom is turning 50 today. So felt very important to be together. Nevertheless, our family started coming to Theodore Parker in the fall of 2019 after I had started to explore local UU communities. I had reached out to Reverend Heather or Reverend Ann at the time, and she quickly responded to answer my questions, set up a meeting to chat, and was just so gracious with her time to embrace our family in the TPC community. I was drawn to the history, the namesake tradition, and the UU philosophies of non-judgment, and just the deep welcoming responses, both individually and as a community. As a person raised in the Catholic tradition, I was pretty skeptical of faith communities, and also having experienced my family leaving the church in my late adolescence, I felt very confused about where faith could live in my life and in my children's lives. And lastly, as a Sicilian, Catholicism had always been really cultural to us, with traditions, celebrations, and food connected to religious holidays. I loved the rituals at home, but really disliked the ways that I came to understand Catholicism in my life and its impact on my family of origin. I was looking for a place where my family could experience being a part of a beloved community, see the ways that shared values are lived, and truly put action into the equation of faith and action. And I also didn't want anyone to tell me how or what to believe. The first few months of coming to service, connecting to Rose, the amazing children's programming, and just meeting people led us to feel like this was the right place for us to embrace as a part of our life. And then March 2020 arrived, and Greg and I were both working full time, me in healthcare, and our children were in pre-K and first grade at Boston Public Schools. So to say we were overwhelmed is a bit of an understatement. I had no gray hair then, and I've certainly aged those 5 years. And here's where I will shower some much deserved praise on Rose and TPC at large. The quick pivot to virtual services, the creativity and how to maintain connection was just incredible. Reverend Ann and Rose started a family story time. And the first session, my child Grayson, who was 7 at the time, he asked if he could read a story of his choosing. And up until that point, again, he was 7, it was mostly Greg and me reading aloud to him. And I was thrilled that he was asking to read not to just us, but to other TPC friends and caregivers. And he chose to read this beautiful children's book called What Do You Do with a Problem by Kobe Yamada. And many of you might be familiar with it. If not, I definitely encourage you to read it, check it out. It's a story that just narratively and artistically describes the burden of holding a struggle and trying to transform the burden into something else. And the something else is to create opportunity and see what doors can open from sharing your struggle with someone else and seeing your way through rather than ignoring or bearing its presence. And Grayson just read this beautifully, which was such a light in the moment when schools had stopped and we were worried about how our kids would be in general. And needless to say, it was also a real kind of meet the moment choice. He just knew that the world at large had delivered a problem and we were all grappling with what to do. So fast forward through the 5 years since then, including the monthly RE boxes that Rose lovingly made and delivered to our children that were beautiful in their creation and their content, focusing on things like Indigenous wisdom, nature, exploration in our world, and tethered us to this community at a time when so much felt so disconnected. And now with Grayson participating in OWL and having gotten to know Reverend Heather, and in the recent months when Greg and I signed the book to fully commit to this community and join in its important work, its vision, and its deep presence. All this to say that we are so deeply grateful for Theodore Parker, truly glad to be in relationship with you all individually and collectively. I'm very glad to offer this on our Trans Day of Visibility service, which encapsulates the way that our family wants to both center the humanity of every person and also fight for the care of each of us. So thank you, and so grateful to have offered this to you all.
Each week, we take an offering to sustain the many ministries of this congregation. We give because we believe that we are part of something larger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space, in transformation and in hope, in community and in love. We give because we know that it takes all of us sharing our many gifts to make this space possible, with the faith that together we have more than enough. Links to donate will be in the chat and on the screen, and ushers will be coming around if you wish to give via cash or check. As the Theodore Parker Choir provides an offertory music, your contributions will be gratefully received.
So friends, tomorrow, March 31st, is Transgender Day of Visibility, which was started in 2010 as a way to celebrate the lives and accomplishments of trans people, while also recognizing that not all trans people want to or can be visible. And this year on Transgender Day of Visibility, it feels particularly urgent to affirm our celebration of transgender people as an embodiment of the beautiful diversity of how humans express our genders. And to affirm that as Unitarian Universalists, we believe that trans people are divine, whole, and holy.
A celebration which is so necessary and needed, especially in these days of anti-trans vitriol and legislation. So absolutely critical to be clear about our love for our transgender, non-binary, and otherwise identifying beloveds.
As a queer cisgender woman with many trans and non-binary people in my family and my close circles, I feel this personally.
Me too. I find that I'm doing things right now to both be openly trans, and I'm doing things right now to be less visible at times.
The call today in these times is so painfully clear. Those of us who are cisgender, who are not directly under attack right now from anti-trans legislation, need to be in strong solidarity with our trans and non-binary siblings.
And we need to be able to rely on that support as we determine and redetermine what is safe for us given this state of repression.
And that's the question for today, what our faith asks of us, how it inspires us to be in relationship in a way that it quite literally offers protection to our gender diverse beloveds right now. So this morning, Reverend Deal and I are going to each offer a short reflection for today's Trans Day of Visibility service. But before we do that, I want to introduce our reading this morning, which is that Natalie Ware is going to share an original poem with us today. Natalie recently scored a 10 out of 10 on the poem at the Mass Poetry Teen Spoken Word Festival, making her one of the highest scoring poets of the festival, and she is most likely headed to the Brave New Voices this summer with her slam poetry team, a national competition being held in Madison, Wisconsin this summer. Natalie.
Hi, this is a poem about queerness. Yeah. Look at me. Look at my eyeliner. You know what I am. I'm one of those gays. The cringy Zer neo-pronoun has no tell too woke to handle type of gay. The 2020 alt TikTok what the flip anime cosplayer typing quirk type of gay. The type of gay you cannot stand to be around. The type of gay that's always triggered and always needs accommodations. The type of gay that is ruining our community. And then you talk to me and realize I'm just like everyone else. I use Sol de Janeiro 71 and listen to Billie Eilish, so now I'm safe, right? Now you can tell me how much you hate furries and how you're gay, but you're not like weird gay, because you don't need to make it your whole personality. 10 years ago, same-sex marriage was not legal in this country. 20 years ago, all you had was Brokeback Mountain. 30 years ago, bars were still flavored ashes, but sure. Let's make fun of the cringy, neurodivergent queer kid. Because God forbid anyone thinks you're one of those gays. And you're not. You're normal. You climb the small staircase we have built and stay standing at the top because we're not going anywhere else. Because you look down at the people still drowning in neutral colors and say they're abusing the rainbow as if we are not called queer for a reason. And you think they are pulling the steps from beneath you when really all they have been doing is holding them steady. But no, this is woke and modern. This is taking what you have and running with it, the thing you worked so hard to get, but who really got it and who is now sitting at the bottom of your normal enough hierarchy? I cannot stand to hear another, I'm gay, but I don't associate with that community. I'm gay, but I'm not into all that extreme leftist stuff. I'm gay, but I only support the LGB, not the T. Do I need to remind you who threw the first brick? We are a community. Now, more than ever, we are a community, and we will not stand at the top of this staircase almost as if we are waiting for a smooth surface to slide back down, because we know what it is like to be hated. We know what it is like to be different and weird and crazy and a freak and mentally ill, and we will not discriminate our own people for the same reason we have been discriminated for all of history. My feet are tired from walking up and down these stairs, and I'm wearing Docs. There is no final step. There is no point where we stop climbing to cater to the people who made us climb in the first place, because we are infinite. We are eternity. We are never ending. I am not normal, and I will no longer be embarrassed for being who I am in 2025. I will never stop dancing at the Pink Pony Club, and everyone is invited to the Pink Pony Club, because we are all on the same team. We will not assimilate. We will not tone ourselves down. We will not blend in, and we will never stop adding new letters, and we will never stop climbing the staircase, because we are queer, and we are weird and cringy and too much, but at least we are alive. Thank you.
I'm not sure we need a sermon. So friends, this morning on this Trans Day of Visibility, I kept thinking about all I want to say in this moment in the world, and the attacks on our trans, non-binary, and gender-diverse siblings. But when I sat down, what came out was a litany of gratitude. A litany of gratitude for the ways that I, as a cisgender person, which means that the sex that I was assigned at birth feels comfortable and matches how I experience my gender identity. The ways that I have, as a cisgender person, have been blessed by the trans and non-binary and gender creative people in my family, in my life, and in my community. So here's my litany of gratitude. To our trans, non-binary, and gender diverse beloveds, I want to say thank you. Thank you for just being who you are. Because you being who you are opens the door just a little bit wider for the rest of us to be who we are too, whether we are cisgender or transgender or non-binary. And when I say that my own liberation as a cisgender woman is bound up in yours, what I mean is thank you for reminding me and teaching me that the boxes that the world puts around us, puts around what it means to be a man or a woman, only serve to limit us. These boxes do not make us more free, and you know it. You show us the way out. Thank you for widening the definitions of what it means to express our genders. Because even though I seem to more or less fit inside the box the world has set for me, I too have felt constrained at times by it. Thank you for reminding all of us that there are so many ways to be a woman, so many ways to be a man, so many ways to be a human that don't fall into neat boxes. Thank you for reminding us that those boxes have too often been cages. Thank you also for reminding me that, as Unitarian theologian James Luther Adams said, revelation is not sealed, which is a fancy way of saying we do not already know all that there is to know about the world, about ourselves, about the divine. Thank you for modeling how to continue to learn about yourself. Thank you for helping the world continue to learn how to best talk about the beautiful diversity that exists among us. Thank you for the invitation to keep learning throughout our lives. Because many of us have had to learn how to use new pronouns or how to think about gender differently than we were taught to think about it as children. You remind us that we can grow and learn and change. And your pronouns are not and have never been a burden, but a gift. A gift in the form of an invitation to keep growing and learning. Another reminder that revelation is not sealed. Today, I also offer up gratitude for the trans community and their legacy of resistance and resilience. So many communities have taught us these lessons over the years, but as Natalie reminded us in her poem, let us not forget who threw the first brick at Stonewall. Let us not forget that the ways that the LGBTQ movement for liberation has so often been led by trans people, and particularly trans women of color. I have learned so much about survival, about creating family, about thriving, about authenticity and truth-telling, about having courage even when we are scared, about living good lives, about a commitment to joy as resistance from the trans and non-binary folks in my life and throughout history. Today, on this Trans Day of Visibility, I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to reflect on my role in this moment as a cisgender ally, and for the opportunity to get really clear on how I want to be visible as an ally to the trans community, how I want to use my privilege in this moment to speak more loudly, to protect these beloveds, even if we don't yet know what is going to be needed and what it will look like in these coming months. Today, I do want to especially lift up the work with gratitude, the work of Pink Haven, which is an organization founded in part by many Unitarian Universalists and supported by our UU Service Committee, who are committed to trans liberation and joy, and growing community defense, mutual aid, and alternative systems of care for gender diverse people. And particularly in this moment, Pink Haven has been helping trans and gender diverse people who need to relocate to different areas of the country for their own safety or the safety of their children. And if you are interested in supporting this work as an expression of gratitude, I invite you to check out the link that Kathy sent out on TPC Talk on Friday, or reach out to me and I'll help get you connected. Thank you to our trans organizers for leading us, for inviting us into some of the ways that we might show up in this moment, and for reminding us that liberation is bound together. Beloveds, on this Trans Day of Visibility, may we be reminded with gratitude of the abundant blessings that trans people, trans liberation, trans joy, trans thriving, trans resistance, and trans resilience bring to our lives and to our communities. May it be so. Reverend DL.
So let me just say I'm aware of what time it is, and you're probably going to be a little grateful that I'm not on the long-winded side generally. More times than I can count, I've come out as transgender. I've told about my marriage ending, about a job offer rescinded, a fear and worry about whether I would be loved and partnered again, of my initial shyness and almost shame at telling my truth 14 years ago now, and of the love literally poured on me in the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Long Beach, California, where I was living at the time, of that love that held me until I could hold for myself once again my own beauty and my own worth. And so much has changed since then, both for myself and for the larger world. And now I'm out and I'm proud, and just try to stop me from telling you why I love who I am and how I am. Both because I believe it's important, but because I believe it's important to also for people that come after me. But Natalie, wow, you do not need to hear this because you have this already. But for other people, I want them to hear you can be out and trans and be happy. You can live your truth too. I love who I am, and I know that this is true for so many gender diverse individuals. We are people being our full selves, full stop. If only we were allowed to live this way, unhindered by prejudice and worse. Since 2016, since the last administration of this sort, the laws targeting gender diverse individuals now number in the thousands in more than 30 states and counting. The laws are increasingly terrible, from bathrooms and sport bans to forcible removal of children from parents who are trans or from parents raising trans children, to changes in identification laws. Many of these laws are felonies and come with jail time. And some states in Florida and Texas include child molestation laws that if I, for example, use a bathroom of the gender I identify in, but not the one I was born into, I am a child molester and theoretically eligible for the death penalty. And while this law has not yet been used, its presence is terrifying, purposely so. Under this administration, laws will continue to worsen. Living conditions, mental health, and the literal safety of gender-affirming care and gender-diverse people will be the result of that. And this isn't an abstract conversation we're having. I have friends and colleagues here in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, who all have stories about passports. Some of them have received their passports back cut in two. Some of them have received their passports back with the gender changed back to their gender at birth, though it has been their stated gender correctly for many years until now. And this isn't an inconvenience. This is a survival. Imagining trying to enter or leave the country where you have a passport that says you're one person and one gender, and other ID that says you're something else, and all people know is that it does not match. And it makes it hard to use either name, and again, that is the intent. To marginalize gender diverse individuals, to scrub us from public life, and to make the case, I believe, for the ultimate removal of us, the same way we're using vitriol against undocumented individuals who are vanishing suddenly. It is not an overstatement, I believe, to say that they will come for us too, given the opportunity. Do not be complacent. Do not obey in advance. This will worsen. So on Trans Day of Visibility, what is the right thing to do? Do we be out and proud? Do we do what people have done at times when they felt they needed to and go into hiding? Or at least stop being so visibly trans? I keep being told by friends that I look good with the beard. I'm not doing the beard because I want it. I'm doing the beard because I want to be less visibly trans in some situations right now. That's true for many of us. We changed our gender markers, we changed our visible because we don't want to walk around as visible. And if I'm honest, it's getting bad much faster than even I anticipated, and I was pretty cynical about the whole thing. That's the bad news, and I am shifting. I promise I am shifting. There's good news. The good news is that we still have power. The good news is that we have power that no law can take from us. We have power to take care of each other. We have power to be in solidarity with each other, to care for each other, and to extend that love in tangible form. The power that Unitarian Universalism has always had, this is power that Unitarian Universalism has had and is also working to improve upon. From welcoming congregations to the Our Whole Lives program going on downstairs, we teach each other about diversity, about allyship, about understanding and love and solidarity. And not perfectly, but we try, and we're doing new programs like Beyond Binaries to teach ourselves even more. And in these times, we need more. I told Reverend Heather very quietly that on my first day here, I love this little liturgical dancer. On my first day here, someone said to me right before service started, "I don't believe in non-binary." And I looked at that person and I chuckled and I said, "You don't have to believe, it is so," and kept going. But now though, I wouldn't laugh it off. I would say that if there's still work we need to do to be more gender affirming, now is the time. If you're an ally but you haven't been vocal about it, now is the time. And you've if you've been vocal, now is the time to be more vocal. Because on Transgender Day Visibility, again, as Rev. Heather said, we need every cisgender person, every person with positional privilege here to decide, to advocate, to surround, and to be visible in ways it is not safe for us to be. This is our history as Unitarian Universalists. We know how to be in solidarity with identities that are not our own, to recognize that to harm any of us is to harm all of us, that the interdependent web doesn't leave any of us as disposable, that the call of faith, of our faith, is to weave tightly that web that holds us all. There is no future time that is better than now. On this day, when gender diverse individuals are invited to be visible, the truth is that this is one of the few places that feels safe to do so right now. This is the time to make our faith manifest, to live the values we attest to. May we care enough to live fully into the needs of this moment. And I'm just going to breathe 1 second. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join us in hymn number 1014, Answering the Call of Love. The words have been updated, so please use the words. They've been updated to be more inclusive and accessible, so please use the words on the screen rather than the ones in the hymnal. The closing words I want to share with you today are by a colleague, the Reverend Sean Neil Barron. He wrote a letter in response to some anonymous LGBTQ rhetoric. I'm reading you just part of the letter because I love how he not only negates the negativity, but celebrates the diversity. And this is what Sean says. There is a love wider than fear, deeper than control, queerer than we were ever taught to expect. A love that delights in people becoming more themselves, not less. A love that whispers to every trans and non-binary kid, you are real, you are holy, you are enough. Love is vast, and love is faster. And if your faith has to race someone to feel safe, it's not faith, it's fear. But the good news, my dear letter-writing friend, is that there's a better way. It's big, and it's bright, and it's free, and whether you believe it or not, you are already held in that love. May you know it someday, may you let it in, and may you freaking sparkle.
I have a few announcements and invitations for us. First of all, if you're joining us here in person, I invite you next door to our coffee hour right through these doors. And if you're joining us online, I invite you to stick around for our breakout rooms on Zoom. During coffee hour, Jonathan is hosting a very special table at coffee hour where you can write down your favorite hymns. We want some information about what hymns you love. So please see Jonathan at the table at coffee hour and fill out the little slip of paper that he has to poll us on our favorite hymns. I think we'll be doing it this week and next week, and you can also email, and 3 weeks, and you can also email Jonathan if you are joining us on Zoom or forget to do it at coffee hour today. Next Saturday, April 5th, Cozy Sheridan and David Roth will be our next Music on Center concert. The show starts at 7:30 and doors open at 7. Please come. We may also need flyers put up. Flyers would be great as well if you want to take a few flyers and put them up when you're out and about in your neighborhoods. And lastly, we have our final stewardship update from Gretchen.
Is this one working? Yes, okay, good. So I just checked my phone, and I'm happy to say that, Mary Beth, could you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so this is out of date already, and I just updated it this morning. So we now have 74 pledges and a little bit more headway toward our goal. You'll see that we had a very steep, ambitious goal this year of 317,000 and 99 pledges, both high. I think that we can still make the dollar goal. I'm optimistic. I'm more concerned, frankly, about the number of pledges because it's fewer than even this current pledge year. So I'm really encouraging everybody who hasn't yet pledged to please do it, if you can today or by April 1st. Anyway, I think we can do this, folks. We're all inspired by our service today and by Natalie, and we know that we're here because we need to be. We're here we're here basically because of these anxious times. We're feeling, maybe we're worried about our jobs, we're worried about our bank accounts. There are many things that weigh on our hearts and souls these days. I think this church is our sanctuary, and whatever we can all do to support it, I think is really important. We just want you to know that pledges can be changed. If you can make a pledge and then something happens in your life, just tell the stewardship team, we can adjust. But we just are really looking for as much support as we can manage by April 1st to support this community that we all love. And I will stop talking so we can go to coffee hour soon. Okay, thank you.
Huge thank you to the whole stewardship team for all of your work on this stewardship season. And our postlude will be Chorale and Rumba by Howard Skempton. One very quick last announcement. Our new members gathering is happening today at 12:15 in the parlor. Thank you all.